यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ओम ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान गहन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि। ओम प्रपन्नपादिजाताय तोत्रवेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय गीतामृतदुहे नमः। May the Almighty Sri Lord Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and entire your family and friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita, verse number 7 of 13th chapter. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Amanitvamadambhetvam Ahimsa Kshantirajyavam आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः. The chapter begins with a question from Arjuna. Krishna is answering for the question. He answered about Kshetram and Kshetrajnaha. Still Bhagavan is to complete the Kshetrajnaha. The topic of Kshetrajnaha is going to be explored. Before that, there are some virtues, the group of mental virtues and which is required for Vedanta's progress. Okay, therefore we can call them Vedanta friendly virtues. So by adapting, by understanding these virtues, I mean values, you can get spiritual growth. Especially these virtues are given after 12 chapters. It means by studying, analyzing and adapting those 12 chapters, the content of those 12 chapters, you will get these benefits. These 20 virtues of the collection of all spiritual virtues. So great thing to understand one by one. That's what we have begun from the last session. We saw Amanitvam. Manitvam means becoming self-conceit, to have the self-glorification and Atmani Pujyatva Bhavana. That we have seen, undigested food becomes poison to our system. In the same way, when you learn knowledge and you own the object, if you are not keeping yourself befit with those objects, I mean to maintain your proper attitude, then you will be caught by what? Manitva. Manitva becomes a dosha. Whether you are materialist person or spiritual person, doesn't matter. If you have manitva, you will just demoting your life. The life can be driven somewhere else, it will be taken away from the proper destination. The proper destination is to be kept. You have to keep yourself befit, or you have to keep on the track towards the proper destination. Otherwise, these all these doshas, defects will deviate you or suck your energy. Therefore, Bhagavan brings in appropriate places. When you understand about Kshetram is a dead material, inert object. But though they are inert object, they have their own consciousness. See, your body is conscious enough to maintain itself. Your breath system, okay? Then your nerve system, your whole system, we call it digestive system, bone system. So all these things, they have their own system of functioning. They don't wait for our permission. They keep working. It means what? Your system doesn't require your permission. The system has got a little bit conscious. that limited conscious. They are conscious enough to maintain their system. The system which we call it five elemental forces. They do have the conscious to function their function. Now these virtues will allow or will make us to become befit with those dead material and with the conscious. Therefore these virtues has to be understood properly, how it has to be understood. We started learning from Amanitva from the last session. Now today we are going to see Adambhitvam. So this is slightly, that extrovertedness Manitva. Manitva means, becoming pride about your own talents. But this Dambhitvam means you want to show your capacity to outside world. Sometimes also it means, so when you are not talented enough, when you don't have particular talent, but you are showing as though you own it. That's what Dambhitvam. You don't know how to cook, but somebody else, they have cooked the food, but you proclaim the ownership of it. If somebody, you are serving the food and people ask, oh my God, it's very delicious, who cooked it? Then instead of asking the question like that, they said, you cooked very well, then you accept, you don't deny it. That's what Dambhitvam. Dambhitvam means where you are not having the talents, but you are owning the ownership of the talent. This is what happening in our society. Because people, they steal others' work. They steal others' talent. They proclaim ownership for others' glory. You don't have that glory, but you want to be glorified through that knowledge which is borrowed from others. You don't deserve, but you expect the name and fame through the talent which you don't have. That's what is known as Dambhitvam. So Dambhitvam becomes a problematic. This is nothing but showing off, show off, just to show off the people that I am everything, I know everything, seeking the central attention. They say turn out, seeking for the attention. You want to become the main wherever you go. If any program happens, the people are organizing for a program, so you don't work behind the stage, you won't work what and all to be done before the program. Do you go exactly on that program when stages are ready? So you go and get the mic and you speak with the people to show that you are everything, you have done everything. You want to appear in that way. It's known as Dambhitvam. Proclaiming to which we don't deserve for. That's what Dambhitvam. It's a bad quality to have. It's a human nature to proclaim others, even between the relative also they do that. I have seen an elder brother who proclaimed the talent of younger one, who wanted to earn money through the talent of his brother. That's what Dambhitvam. We have to be careful. So in order to neutralize that attitude, we have to follow what? Simplicity. Wherever you go, just be simple. Among the crowd, don't put yourself in front. Just, you know about your talent. You don't expect anything out of it. There is no Manitva. There is no Dambhitva. So this is a big teaching in our life. If you have this, you are considered as a Ishvara Prasada, the glory of Ishvara. You just keep in your mind the talent which I have is because of Ishvara. The talent which people have is only because of Ishvara. I need not to proclaim that. I need not to seek the attention. The seeking attention, it is also kind of addiction. Why should we seek the attention? It becomes, so nowadays in YouTube, there are so many videos only to people put for seeking attention. If you want to give really, You don't worry about the numbers of viewers, just you give it to the world. Not seeking for income, not seeking for name and fame. So, whatever that you want to give, that content, it should have a value for human society. It doesn't matter whether they value or not, but you should give whatever that is given to be valuable. It should be valuable for the lifetime to a soul. Then we can contribute something. That is what the motto of this all virtues. Then the next is ahimsa. The ahimsa means non-violence. This is the base of Sanatana Dharma. Ahimsa paramo dharma. All virtues are constructed upon this virtue. Himsa means not taking the weapon and going and killing others. Even hurting others through our body language, looking, staring like that, and threatening through the body language, I will hit you, like, and sitting in a wrong position in front of elders also becomes violence. So when you are sitting in front of your teachers, your parents, your elders, at your home, or while traveling, even in the trains, you should maintain the body language. And people think that if we are adapting this kind of simplicity, people may not respect. That's what, amanitvam adambitvam has been mistaken. So when you follow simplicity, people may not respect. So nowadays, whoever is owning the showing off, means whoever, shows his talent, they are valued. The people are not idiotic. The world recognize the good heart people, the people who is with good at heart. You will be recognized, you need not worry about it. But when you follow manitva and dambitva, it's a himsa. When you lie, it becomes a himsa. So therefore people just, our forefathers, they have put ahimsa is a paramo dharma. So it becomes a supreme value among all other values. Ahimsa is the value which can be valued for complete life. If you are following ahimsa, that's you are considered as a Mahatma. Therefore, we still worship Mahatma Gandhi. He was respected and valued because of what he adapted this ahimsa as his lifestyle. That's what the ahimsa becomes a very important value. So through kaika means physically we should not hurt anybody, injure anybody, and also verbally also we should not hurt others, injure others. Physical injury also it goes in a day. The verbal injury, it never goes. It brings more impact physical injury. We have to be very careful when you bring any word from your mouth. You should not criticize anyone, you should not demote anyone, you should not hurt anyone, you should not speak about your own glory, means self-trumpet. It should not be done. You have to be very careful. If you want to open your mouth to talk about good things of others, or you have to open to glorify Ishvara. Or you consider everything as Ishvara Bhavana. The words becomes very powerful. I heard, we know that the Second World War was only the misunderstood word. The words are very valuable, very powerful, and they are very dangerous too. The Shabda Pramana is the Pramana which is in the form of Vedanta. Vedanta is nothing but Shabda Pramana. Shabda Pramana means what? The evident means which can bring moksha. We have to be very careful with this verbal activity. We have to follow ahimsa. So from today, every day you sit, every day night you can sit and think about the words which we used throughout the day, and we can put, we can categorize these words I used in a proper way, these words I didn't use in a proper way, then I have to reduce. This has to be cultivated. It won't come in a day, it won't come overnight. It takes a long time. Then finally, it's very difficult to understand, very difficult to bring in action. It's known as mental action. Mental action means what? Mental thoughts. The thoughts has to be selected, the thoughts of himsa, thoughts of ahimsa. If anybody is criticizing you, immediately you will get the thoughts which just bring himsa to you, to others. We should not engage ourselves with the thoughts which are having himsatmaka bhavana. The thoughts are very dangerous. We should not even encourage that. Encouraging thoughts of violence, it will bring violence. The thoughts are more powerful than the words, because the mind of a human being is more powerful in the world than any other weapon, because that alone decides whether what to take place or not. So mentally, if you are fit enough, it means what? Mentally you are well enough to engage yourself with a good thought, then you are called as a matured person. Now you should work with your thoughts, your words, your action. That's what ahimsa means. What a spiritual person should be very careful with 3 weapons. I say weapons because they are really weapons. So our duty to convert them into a means, instrument for spiritual progress. Now, what is the difference between spiritual progress and materialist progress? No difference at all. So the materialistic way of living without a spiritual progress becomes a failure life. The life which will lead towards this failure. If you are getting spiritual growth inside, at the same time you are getting material success. Material success means what? Having more name and fame and things and people and reputations. So that is known as a material progress. That materialistic progress also only possible to become successful with when you own spiritual progress inside. Spiritual progress means it's a real growth with your inner system. The spiritual progress means to become more mature than before. As you grow, you should be more mature than before. That's what, the spiritual progress or materialistic progress, both should be equal. Both is one and the same. They are not two. But people, they have divided, So when I talk about some value, ahimsa, it is taught long back when we were in the young age. We were taught by our school teachers. But why we were not able to apply in our life? Because nobody values outside. Don't look for anybody else. If you are stopping injuring others, harming others, hurting others, that's known as ahimsa. So then you become a mature person. Then you should learn how to avoid others' hurting attitude. You should know how to transact with the people who is ready to hurt. Because who doesn't have that subtlety, means maturity in their mind, they will start abusing others, hurting others, verbally, physically or mentally. They are corrupted mind. You should know how to live with them. You cannot go beyond the earth. We have to live in this place alone, but not with even superiority complex. Just having Ishvara Darshanam. So only then it is possible. Therefore, 10th and 11th and 12th chapter is very important chapter. If you don't have these virtues, you cannot have bhakti. If you have the bhakti, all these things should be there. Therefore, Bhagavan specifies again in the different way or with the different words whatever he taught in a bhakti yoga. So when you are able to accept the glory of Ishvara, then you will just live with this life with prasada bhavana. You will consider whatever the talent we own or you own or anybody owns. You will consider that's Ishvara's gift. That's all. It becomes what? Amanitva. And you are not going to be self-proclaimer. That becomes adambitva. You are not going to hurt, injure others. You live a life of a saint. It becomes ahimsa. So when you adapt ahimsa, your mind will be endowed with tranquility called kshanti. You know, kshanti, it has got two meanings: forbearance. So you are able to maintain kshanti. You are able to maintain what? The tranquility of your mind. You will be patient enough. See, patients are not seen among the people nowadays. We are not patient enough. We are hurry. We are so hurry. We don't know where to go, how to go, what to go, but we want to go. We hit a lot. You ask the youngsters, what are you going to be? And they will be confused. But they are hurry. Every day they want to engage themselves with the routines. So those routines are not going to take anywhere. They dig, this is digging a wall. Where there is no wall, there is no journey at all. But still we want to go and hit the wall every day. Hitting with sense pleasure, hitting with people's emotions, hitting with all this dead material. So that's what is going on. That's what we call it materialistic world. If you are emotional, you will be getting all kinds of conflict with the emotional things with others. If you are fond of getting lands, you may get lots of land, but finally you are going to use only 6/3. While living itself, you cannot live atoms in every places. That's what the wrong understanding is. These virtues are very valuable and very subtle to understand. Kshanti means what? To have the patience. In a family, father doesn't have patience. If mother won't have the patience, if she is not owning the patience, she cannot bring the children up to be patient. So when you adapt ahimsa, then alone the patience are felt, experienced in our system. Nobody can provide these virtues from outside. You cannot get for the money. You cannot adapt. You have to cultivate yourself. There is no gym for it. There is no a school or training center in order to train you, to make you as a pakka person, the person who is endowed with all virtues, Vedantic virtues. No. When you study Vedanta, these virtues are introduced. Otherwise, there are so many other texts also introduce these virtues. You don't know why they are. For example, ahimsa was taught when we were studying in the school, as I told you. Why we didn't follow it? Because we don't find value in the society. If anybody is following ahimsa, nobody respects. If all people respecting a person who is following ahimsa, then we will also, get some kind of attraction towards ahimsa. In order to follow these virtues, in order to adapt, you should not have any expectations. That's what the value of these values. You don't understand what I say? When you are with clear destination, moksha, then you lose value of the dead materials. You will gain the value of these materials called ahimsa, amanitva, dambitva, kshantihi, arjavam, acharyopasanam, shaucham, stairyam, atma vinigraha. So Bhagavan is using very carefully these words. Ahimsa means completely owning non-violence. Kshanti means having patience, complete patience to maintain the tranquility. Will it be possible? Because mind is endowed with thoughts. So unless the mind has got emptiness, thoughtless state, we cannot get this patience. Is it so? No, it's not like that. Mind may get thoughts. Mind means there must be thoughts. That's what the device called mind. Mind is an instrument. It is a beautiful instrument where you can get thoughts. Just you can live with your own mind and thoughts alone. So all poets, they live with their thought. The scientists, even they are not digging with the world, they are digging with the thoughts. The thoughts are the beautiful, what I mean to say, that's creation. That creation, it's not a self creation, it happens. So thoughts are beautiful. Now we have to select the thoughts with ahimsa, thoughts for patience. We have to be patient, we have to be relaxed physically, we have to be relaxed, and we have to own the tranquil in the level of emotions. So with our own emotions, try to understand my language, because sometimes I use in a different way. So because we, as Patanjali says, there are 5 levels of chitta: kshiptam, modham, vikshiptam, ekagram, niruddham. That is chitta bhumi. Chitta bhumi means what? We live in a level. So some people can have ekagra, that means concentration from the birth itself. Some people may get with lots of effort. Some people may become focused after having lots of efforts, and some people even continue with fluctuated mind up to the death. It happens. That depends on you. So what kind of mind you want to live with? We have to select the mind which is endowed with amanitva, adambhitva, ahimsa, kshantihi. Then you are a special person. You can live in this life. You can gain which other cannot. What is that? That's inner wealth. The same world which brings competitions, which brings all kinds of emotional fightings, emotional nonsense, which brings always complications to your life, it will change. The worldly objects will transform themselves to give a positive things to you, because your perception changes by adapting these values and virtues. Therefore Bhagavan is just, he is not requesting us, he should just letting us to know these are all the knowledge. Knowledge means it has to be worshipped like anything. He brings this knowledge, alone brings the knowledge about the Supreme. If you want to own the knowledge about the Supreme, you should own this knowledge as your nature of your system. The mind which is endowed with patience is the eligible for the both life, spiritual and material life. Arjavam means uprightness. So this becomes, we become all of us, we don't have the backbone. Do you know what does it mean? We don't know how to stand with the proper things. We are so dependent on all wrong things, making ourselves, convincing ourselves, justifying ourselves for all wrongdoing, avoiding all the wrongdoing, not carried away by the society norms, establishing satya, establishing what I need, not convinced by, not done brainwashed by others. Uprightness, arjavam, rajutvam, the boldness and strongness. You see all the rishis, they are very strong and bold. When you see Swami Vivekananda, you can say that uprightness. Not with tiny, the mind which doesn't have the courage. With the courage, adapting dharma and establishing dharma in our life, you need to have this arjavam. Acharya upasanam means service to the teacher. Service to the teacher means what? Upasana means what? Worshipping teacher. But my guru says serving to the teacher. Serving to the teacher, is it possible? Yes, it is possible. That the Upanishad alone will teach how to serve the teachers. And all text, the teacher means here it is known as Guru. Gukaras tvandhakaro vai rukaras tannivartakaha. Andhakar niroditvad gururitya vidhiyate. So Gu stands for darkness. Ro stands for the remover of the darkness. The Guru who removes the darkness from you, who can bring complete illuminance to you. Thereafter, you may not have any darkness. The physical system will want darkness. The psychological system won't be endowed with the darkness. You may live in this world as an enlightened one. The person, one who is able to convert you from asat to sat, asat oma sadgamayat, darkness to the light. He can pull you from the darkness. That person is called Guru. So worshipping that person becomes a virtue in our Vedantic style of love. So worshipping that person becomes a virtue of a Vedantic style of life. We'll continue from next session and we will learn all the virtues and we will also bring in our life, observe in our life. We will get benefited with the blessings of Lord Venkateshwara. See you. Harihi Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.